Hey there, Bixby developers. Today, I'll be showing you some underused result view components that I believe can help improve the experience of your capsule, or at the very least provide some creative inspiration for you to consider on your next capsule. Let's go ahead and demonstrate the capsule that we'll be working on today.
In 1987, there were 20,202 baby boys named Eric.
And it is a simple baby names capsule which gives you a random baby name right now.
Do you agree to provide location data to popular baby names to process requests?
So this capsule also asks for location access the first time you use it, and I just reset it so that way you could see it pop up. And let's also say that the user says disagree to this.
In 1949, there were 9,345 baby boys named Timothy.
So there you go, that's pretty much the premise of the capsule that we will be using. But one common problem is, what do you do if the user denies you permission for whatever that you asked for? Well, you can actually use a view component to remind the user to provide that permission. And that component is the permission link, which here is the documentation for, and we will be integrating this into our capsule. So going over here to the view file that's responsible for this, let's go ahead and add our render block with the layout, section content as usual. And now we actually want to add the permissions link. And the permission link requires these three things. We need to first input our text. And it's just going to be allow location access for example purposes. And we're going to want to provide it the device location access as well as an onAllow key. So onAllow, we just have it do get names again. You can have your own custom action that perhaps provides better feedback to the user in terms of like what you want to do with their location data, or provide an updated response that's catered to their location data. But in this capsule's case, we're just going to get names again. And let's go ahead and take a look at how that looks.
In 1925, there were 16,687 baby boys named Thomas.
As you recall from earlier, we clicked disagree to provide our location access, so this button is here now. And if we click on it,
Do you agree to provide location data to popular baby names to process requests?
it will prompt you to provide your location data. Now you can agree to it.
In 1977, there were 15,438 baby boys named Mark.
And as you can see now, the button is gone. So if you have the proper permissions, then the button will not stay. And just to show you guys in the simulator how to kind of reset that, you just go click on this little user icon thing, click on permissions, and then uncheck location data.
Do you agree to provide location data to
And now you can easily test this again.
In 1952, there were 9,581 baby boys named Peter.
The next result view component that I wanted to demonstrate is the progress bar. The progress bar shows, for example, like something loading or perhaps the current status of something, but you can also use it for other visual indicators as well. For example, we can add the progress bar to be reflective of kind of the popularity that a name has. So let's go ahead and do that. We have a single line and we're just going to add some text which just says popularity. And then we can just add the progress bar, and the progress bar just takes in a simple decimal, and it is simply name.popularity. If we look at our JavaScript, we can see that right here we are setting the names.popularity, and although I said it's a decimal times 100, so it's kind of like a percent, right? So 25.1% would be roughly a quarter of the bar. But yes, let's go ahead and now take a look at the popularity bar.
In 2005, there were 12,064 baby boys named Jose.
And we can see now the popularity bar is partially filled based on how many babies were named this name in whatever year it was. So yeah, just a very simple popularity bar. Of course, You can customize this bar to be much more sophisticated than mine is right now, but this is just one example of how to utilize it. And the last component that I wanted to highlight is the video component. Surprisingly, not that many capsules utilize the video component, and I think there is a lot of possibilities for many capsules to be improved with it. But you can just add a video just like that. And in this case, we don't want it to autoplay. We also don't need it to loop. And finally, we can provide either a local URL, which you would put in your assets folder, a Vimeo link, or a YouTube link. In this case, I'll be using the YouTube link, and it's asking for the YouTube ID. The YouTube ID, if you have the full URL, it is just this part of it near the end. So that's the only part of the actual URL that we need. And we can just pop this right in here.
In 1981, there were 8,625 baby girls named Erica.
And now we have this video for users to continue to stay engaged with your capsule, and perhaps they may want to watch this video on the most popular baby girl names. And now, just to make this thing look a little bit better, we will want to use the spacer key. And we can add some spacers in between each of the main segments. So we're going to add a little bit of space here and a little bit of space underneath the progress bar.
In 1883, there were 8,387 baby boys named William.
And now you can see how we have some room in it. So this one is more clearly indicated as the popularity bar. So yeah, there you go. 3 pretty useful components that I highly recommend considering putting into your capsule, especially if you have permissions that the user ends up disagreeing with. This one is very useful for that purpose. And you can also add some other visual things like using the progress bar to indicate some kind of progress, of course. And of course the video component, which is also very good for continuing engagement for your capsule. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully it provided some creative inspiration for you to use on your next Bixby capsule. And yeah, that's it.